Kana, Kana, choose the words more wisely. That could totally be taken wrong. Episode 8 of Oshinoko was really fantastic. I think a lot of it having to do with the state of mind of Aqua. A character that, honestly, for me, I've been pretty hesitant on. I don't know if I'm going to like this character. I just don't like his personality or everything. But I kind of had a hope last episode, how it ended, that something's going to shake in this dude. Like, we're gonna break Aqua and really start to dive into him. And interestingly enough, it wasn't as much in the direction that I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be mostly Akane messing with his head and him just not sure what he thinks, which is sort of what happens. It's just kind of a trigger point that kind of forces him to have to think about what his state of mind is. And it's really rare to have a show really get into the details of essentially how a mind develops and having that actually affect a reincarnate. Typically with a reincarnate, they're just super smart. Nothing the fact that they are an infant messes with them or anything. No, it's actually messing with him. He's like, yeah, at some point he came to realize when I was an infant, I lost a lot of those memories because infant amnesia, the fact that your mind is developing and a lot of the things that you had happen when you were a kid, like I have zero. I hope, I think I've heard some people say they actually have memories from when they were really, really young, but it's like, no, for sure not infant days. A lot of those days, he just doesn't remember because he was an infant. His brain, his physical brain, was still developing. And he's even getting into the fact that as he grows up, his mind starts to shift. As he gets to adolescence and everything, as he's getting older, he starts to have these little moments in his life. Puberty and stuff like that. And those phases that kids go through is sort of a hormone change and everything that really does actually affect how he thinks. And I like that they actually point that out. It's like, okay, it's actually making this seem something that, yes, is seemingly, I don't know, there could be an actual biological aspect of this supernatural thing that is causing Aqua to be this person that has been transferred into this body makes sense in a physical, scientific way, even though it is not very scientific. It's good stuff. It's good stuff. But additionally, like I said before, really having his mind start to wonder, wait, what do I think of I? Because that's like the overall most important question is, what do you even think about I? It's always been a question mark of, do I love I? Was I just the son of I? Am I a fan of I? What am I? And ultimately coming to the question mark that he doesn't necessarily fully put into words is, wait, or did I? And it doesn't really it cuts it off, but I assume it's going in the direction of, do I love I? Did I have feelings for I? Because that's ultimately going to come into question when he's thinking about Akane, who is literally becoming I. What do I do? What do I do with these feelings? Do I have feelings for her because of this? That's the important question. I love how they have, it kind of brings Kana into the picture to sort of figure that out. But no, obviously a lot of emphasis this episode on Akane. The opening segments of this having her pretty much acting out this character. And it really is a sad and sort of uncomfortable moment. And I like that. It doesn't seem uncomfortable. It doesn't seem sad. But at the same time, you get a sense that this is sort of uncomfortable. Everybody's going, wait, are you okay, Akane? And she's like, yeah, I'm perfectly fine. Yeah, some nasty things were said about me online, but that happens in the industry. She has fully accepted this persona, which honestly, as we've kind of seen with the previous episodes, this is a good thing for her, but it's also unsettling because, yes, for anybody that has been around for a while and has really looked into a lot of cases of people in the same mindset as Akane, this is a dangerous thing to be into because people don't know if you're hurting or not because you're giving off this persona. Everything seems to be pointing so far that Akane is doing good, but there still is this unsettling aspect, and I'll get into more of it later on with Akane, but it's kind of putting her in a dangerous state. It seems like a good thing because she has this armor on now, which is similar to what Aqua was, presenting this whole idea to them for, was you have to create a persona so that if people criticize you, they're criticizing the persona, not you, and you won't take it personal, which I think is, yes, makes sense. But it also hides who you really are. You can have an issue with essentially an identity crisis, but at the same time, also, nobody knows when you're hurting, like I said. But yeah, it just completely throws everybody off. They sort of accept it, kind of moving on. But then, yeah, having these little moments where everybody's kind of realizing that Aqua is acting different. Hey, Aqua, can you get me that bag? Go get it yourself. I'm busy. I'm thinking right now. You should get it for her. Okay. See, he listens to her. And it's like, this is where my mind starts to get into. Are they implying that he's listening to Akane because it's his mom? Mom just told me to get the bag. Yes, Mom. It would have been so great if he said, yes, Mom, and picks it up and walks over. Because that's what becomes like the overall bigger question mark with his feelings with Akane, is it's kind of creepy. And the idea that if you think about it, he's attracted to his mom. But at the same time, he was also attracted to this idol that he loves. Or is he attracted to his loved one, the one that he loved so much? It's this really interesting, creepy, weird idea that I think could be really interesting going forward. And I don't know that the writer's done with this yet. Because yes, he's keeping Akane around him, and I think he's going to continue to be thrown off. And it could do some really, really interesting things with it, even if some of it might be a little bit creepy. I like that stuff. I like a writer that's willing to get a little bit creepy and wonder what would somebody think in this situation. It's good stuff. But it was cool to see, like, she essentially becomes Ai and that everybody's kind of drawn to her. And that's Ai's personality. She is a magnet, and Akane kind of pulls that off. But yes, this leads to him to be, I guess, soul-searching. He doesn't know about his feelings, and so he invites Kana on not a date, but to skip class, and she's super happy about this because she's seeing that he's getting close to Akane on the show, and she thinks she's losing Aqua. It's a funny little scene. I love their little moment together, throwing ball, seeing her getting better at it, she's talking about, throwing the opening pitch at the baseball games, and yes, saying that this is her first time, and it's her first time with him. Girl. Him mentioning that he likes older, and she gets all excited because she's older than him. But again, it's a cool little scene because I think what they're sort of implying here, it's not necessarily stated. Again, he's inside he's conflicted because he's trying to figure out what he thinks of Ai. And then he's talking about the fact that, yes, the development stages of a person and how that affected his mind. And he's getting closer and closer to the point that he and his old self will be level. Like the barrier between the two of them will be broken because his mindset will be mature just like he originally was. I'm really curious if that will possibly unlock something as well. Will his mindset be similar to the point where we'll start to get into the aspects of what he actually knows? I've sort of mentioned this before, but it's sort of weird that this is like one of the very few isekais, reincarnate types of shows where they don't really apply anything they knew before. He was a doctor in his previous life. Yes, we've not really seen him utilize that at all. It could have also been the reason why he didn't really know what to do and didn't really do much when Ai herself was dying. Why didn't he try to do something? As a doctor, he should have known something he could have done. But again, he was a child. And I guess you could sort of say they're sort of answering that question now as to why he didn't do anything then. It's because his mindset wasn't fully there yet. But what will that end up unlocking when his mindset and his physical self becomes equal with his old self? It's a very curious question. And it sort of seems like he's breadcrumbing it right here. But no, like I said, the overall thing I think this is really saying here is because he spent this time with Kana, he wanted to get away from people that have sort of motives from the show itself. She's like, well, you have all the people at the show that you can hang out with. Why not them? He's like, well, I don't want to hang out with people and talk with people that have motives. I don't have that with you. And what I think this little conversation has, because it's so casual, because they're so friendly with each other, and he's able to have this conversation with her and tease her, and she gets angry and stuff, it's a moment where he realizes, I like being around Kana. Like, this is a different feeling than when I'm around Akane. And I think that's what sort of triggers him to realize, oh yeah, I'm not really into Akane as Ai. It's all a job. And I think that's what he's sort of figuring out here. What he sort of says at the very end is the key point. My feelings aren't that way. I'm just simply seeing a ghost. Which is, yes, what you're getting. Because everything up until the point where Akane started doing that, he had no interest in Akane. The moment that Akane became this ghost, suddenly things started messing with him. Suddenly he's blushing. Suddenly everybody's teasing him and he's trying to get away from the situation. He's realizing, it's not Akane that I like. It's this ghost. It's just making me think of this thing, and that's not That's not the same. But no, that's where we get to the point where Aqua realizes he's going to have to use Akane. And this is where I'm starting to get a little unsettled. Because yes, at some point she reveals that she was kind of deep diving into Ai's character. And at some point realized there's a lot of gaps. And she filled in those gaps based on what she believed that would fit there. And yes, some of that was the aspect that she had a child, and that was a guy that she was into. And this is what triggers in Aqua that, okay, I need to use her. And that kind of leads to the later parts where eventually, yes, he kisses her on the show, which was a part of the job, but additionally saying specifically, let's keep together. Now, yes, there's a part of it that's like, well, I'm into you as an actress, but I think that's tied in with what he originally says. I need to use this girl. I can't let her out of my sight yet. I need to use her. And that is in the fact that she knows something. Through her investigations, she's able to interpret what's missing. And it's something that he can use. No, it's not to say that Akane is going to say, oh, that's the guy. It's more of a thing of, I can tell you what things she would be into and what would be her ideal guy. And that would at least give Aqua an area to really search in to find the one, and yes, use DNA to sort of confirm it. But that lies the bigger issue. We've already established that Akane has some insecurities. We've seen her driven to her limit. And to have somebody like that be used hurts. That's a side that hurts for me. And so it's like, it's kind of a big notch down on Aqua. I'm glad that he's being at least honest from the front. He's not saying I have feelings for you. This is a job. Thank you for at least being perfectly clear about that, so at least she's not misguided there. He is being honest in the idea that he is interested in her as an actress. So he is using her, but he's being very clear about his intentions. He doesn't want to make it seem to her that he actually has feelings for her, which is a good thing, but it also kind of drags her along, and it's kind of painful to see. So it's a mixed bag. It's a mixed bag. I'm kind of angry, but I'm like, but it's not that he lied to her. And before I get ahead of myself, yes, there's a brief scene inside of this whole after party thing that's got me a little frustrated, and that is the stagehand director guy, whatever, that was trying to give them useful information. We would like you guys to use the show to your advantage. Some people go out and get married, some will break up after a while, but use us to your advantage. Many in this industry will take advantage of you guys and discard you. And those guys that get caught up in that will end up in hell. It's like the dude is literally a dirtbag. This dude's a total dirtbag that did exactly that. Used Akane and discarded her. And it was only because Aqua did what he did that they saved her. At least it seems like this guy has acknowledged what he did. I'm thankful of that. At least it all signs point this guy is literally going, yeah, people like me, bad guys like me, we're messed up. And we're going to use you and we're going to discard you. He now can at least admit what he did was wrong. But it's like, gosh, this guy, get off the screen. I did love the scene with the producer guy or whatever. That was a really cool scene because it's like, well, you kind of did something taboo. You released the raw footage. You're not supposed to do that. We were actually thinking of taking actions on Ichigo Productions. And Aqua's like, you didn't know. Aqua's like, I didn't do this like willy-nilly. I read the contract. I know what I can do. I put it on an official channel. You guys can't do nothing to me. Aqua not dumb, dude. He knew what he was doing. But no, I thought that we were going to cut to the last part and actually show what he knows. But apparently we have to wait until some other episode to find out what this guy knows that can possibly help Aqua move to the next stage. Because, yes, we've finished the reality TV show. Now it's time to find out where Aqua needs to go next in order to find his next lead. And yes, that's all wraps up with Memcho apparently joining Komachi. I don't know. It seems like she's all but joined. Aqua's just going around recruiting everybody. It's like, we're never... Miyako's not going to recruit anybody. Aqua's going to recruit everybody. He's just doing her job. But no, we find out that she wanted to be an idol. And so she knows a lot about Ai. And he's like, well, why don't you join? She's like, wait, what? So there you go. He's going to make her dreams come true. And she's going to become an idol because she couldn't just, I don't know, have become an idol. It's just becoming a part of Komachi apparently is a big deal. I don't know. That's still... It's fine, but at the same time, it's kind of like it took him asking her before she's finally like, oh, well, I could join and become an idol. I hope it's not that easy. I was kind of thinking that she was going to be like, oh, well, yeah, I guess I could. Let me think about it kind of thing. Either way, more Memcho's good. I don't want Memcho off the show. She's a great character. Some of the points that I forgot to kind of mention, I did like the fact that at some point Aqua sort of realizes that it's sad, the idea that Akane knows more about Ai than even he does, despite the fact that he grew up being raised by Ai. But again, it hits heavy on the aspect of him realizing my mind state wasn't really the same. But at the same time, he never really could figure out what was the point in which her lies ended and the truths began. And that was technically a part of the whole first episode, was that point in which I realized I want to do something truthful to my children for once. She wants to be truthful for them before, and then unfortunately she gets stabbed. But it was kind of interesting to see that he at least is conflicted in the idea that, why does this girl know so much more about somebody that I literally adored as an idol and adored as a mother? And yes, I was heartbroken for Kana. They kept telling her, like, this is a part of the industry. Kisses, if you have that chastity for your kisses, it's just not going to work out. And then she sees Aqua kissing Akane. My heart broke. She's all curled up in the bed. It hurt. Even following this whole nice scene with them playing catch and her giving him his first time with catch. Anyways, until the next episode, we have 3 more episodes left. 9, 10, 11. Oh, 3 more episodes left. Really hoping this show comes to a really solid conclusion point. And yes, has a second season announced, because I don't know, Akasaka's had a really good case of them adapting a whole bunch of their stuff, and it seems popular enough. It seems like the studio loves this content and everybody's eating it up, so hopefully we get more. But until the next time, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. As always, if you did, make sure to hit that like button down below, comment, let me know what you thought of the episode. Additionally, if you're new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button so you got my content. I do news reviews, first impressions, top lists. If it's anime, it's pretty much here. Additionally, if you like this content and you want to support it more, I have a Patreon link, tips link, super thanks, and membership button down below. I greatly appreciate everybody supports the channel. It is you guys that make this happen, and y'all take care.